Hello, everybody. Well, I'm probably the oldest one around now. I remember when Papa was the oldest and Mama was the oldest. We moved here how many people know the history? Can you hear me? Do I need to project more? Yeah. Well, we came in 1951. It wasn't Papa. It was Herta, my mother, who knew there was going to be trouble brewing when my father got blacklisted. We lived in a very fancy house in Santa Monica, and they knocked on the door, and they gave Papa the pink slip. And at that point, my mother came up here and started to look around, and who did she find but Bob DeWitt? Those who've been here around know about Bob DeWitt, who lived up the road there, now where the table is. And he was a great ceramicist, great artist. We used to go up there as kids, and when we go to school, he'd take the cow's teats and he'd squirt milk into us before we went to school. That was part of his process. And he would paint with his toes. He was quite mad, but he was wonderful. He helped our family get started. Our family went east. He was blacklisted, and work stopped for my father. It was all over. And there were 3 of us at that time. Myself, my older sister Kate, and Thaddeus. And it was bare land here. It was beautiful, so Papa created Geer Gardens, because in his background, he was a horticulturist. He'd got his degree from Chicago at the university, so he knew all about plants. And he lived there, and we healed the best we could, but it was, you can't take away somebody's work, somebody's passion. And they took my father's passion and his work away. And the family all watched him really become like a vegetable that couldn't find its roots. It was a very sad time for the family. And so we slowly parted. We had to, all of us, go our separate ways and learn how to function in a world that didn't want us. We were isolated. For the kids, we were red diaper babies. My father was never a communist, because there's no way you could ever get my father to a meeting. It was that simple. And he fought for the unions. He fought for anybody who needed something. He was a humanitarian above and beyond. He loved everybody, trees, anything, light posts, anything. Papa was love. And Mom totally supported him. She was like our sunshine. So when the family split apart, I tried to write it down. We had this wonderful garden going, and that's how we made our living. We would all pile into this was before Melora, my sister was born. We would all pile into the back of the truck. You see, Papa wouldn't drive. He never learned to drive. So Mama had to drive. And there were some people in Hollywood who would pay him for gardening because they knew we were totally broke out here. And but they would never sign a check. They would only give us cash because they were frightened too. It was a frightening time. It's a bit like now. It's you have to be careful what you say and what you think and what you believe. And so all that compost split us up. And we all went off. My sister Kate, we went to New York. I went to New York, and my brother Tad was too little. And then during that time, we had a beautiful, beautiful creation, which was my sister Melora. And we did a lot of traveling, all of us in our different times during this period of trying to find our feet. Went to at least 14 schools. How many did you go to? I counted. And different schools, you know, and we learned all about life. We learned about survival, which I thank them both so much for. And then Papa, he got a job, and it was Otto Preminger hired him for something called Advise and Consent. And it was funny because suddenly he was, the most naughty man in the world, and now he was going to be a senator. So Otter Preminger hired him, and then Pop started coming back in, and then the Waltons, of course. And we came back to this place. The rest of us had become professionals, gotten our union cards, knew how to be actors and actresses, and we came back here to a place called Topanga that was so extraordinary to us during the blacklist years. They sheltered us in a way that I don't know what other human community would. We came back, and again they helped us. They totally accepted us. They gave us a place to heal. Topanga is a very important place that way. It gave us a place to heal as a family because we all came with our children. We had now grown up, had our kids, and I started to make money in Hollywood a bit, and Pop, of course, was doing beautifully with the Waltons, and we decided to make this happen. That was in 1973, and this is when it all leaned to the left. There were no building rules, and audience started to come, and we put on concerts, Americana concerts. Prior to that, I think I left out something very important in the early years, was when we were all healing, the HUAC, we had a little Americana theater. People like Woody Guthrie would come, and he sang. We had Cisco Houston, some of the great folk singers came here, and we did theater right there under the sycamore tree where the Shakespeare Garden is now. So Americana has always been a part of our lives. The true Americana, not the commercial one. And so let me flip back on to the 70s. When Pop died in 1978, he was 76 years old. My mama was fantastically energetic at that time. And we put our heels in and said, we're going to make this happen. We're going to continue and make this theater happen. We met a marvelous woman named Marianne Dolcemascolo, who knew business. The Geers were not business people. And she got us our nonprofit status. She worked very, very hard because, people would come, what is it? Your seats go like this? What? Where are your bathrooms? What's going on? And that's when a man named Oscar McGraw arrived. I don't know if you all have ever worked with this brilliant architect. But he stuck with us and helped us create a septic tank, a leach field, and do it all code, And so these wonderful business people, artists, business people can be artists, they helped us be able to do our work and our passion, which is theater, music, Americana. And today it's so much more important. We all need it desperately. I loved watching you laugh. I laughed like a fool with these wonderful young artists that we have around us. So it was hard after Pop died, but we all went at it. We acquired, I was lucky. I had a Jimmy Stewart show I did, so I acquired with the money I had $14.55, and that made us able to build this, because you can't just have a theater. You have to have the septic, you have to have the whole works, you have to have a place to park. It was all business. How many times down at the Santa Monica Coastal, how many times going down begging them to say, we're grandfathered. My famous one was when we went to the district attorney down there, and I brought Mama, who is an incredible actress, and beside I said, Mama, when I hit your knee, cry. When I touch the top of your head, laugh. And she totally, the room adored her, and as we adored her, and we would get our different legal things that we had to go through, because it's quite something. We had a wonderful person named Lucy with the Actors Union. That again, here we were with that. We must deal with that, and our goal always was to pay artists. That has always been our goal. And we now pay our artists beautifully. They're not as well as we want to, but we do. And so we created I wrote out a contract called a letter of agreement, because we didn't fit any of their list of, Lord A, B, C, D, E. So I wrote out what we wanted to do, and they accepted it. And what is so odd, after 50 years, we still have that letter of agreement, and it's a developing theater agreement. And I look at them, I say, we're 50 years old, we're still developing? I found that amazing, you know, and I don't think they quite know what to do with us, and that makes me feel okay. And then now the first grant story, I'm trying to slip these little stories in. There was a man named Fernando Guterres, and he worked for Wells Fargo. And Marianne Jojo Chamascolo and I put on purple because purple draws money, they told us. And we went down to this big, you know, room, and we sat there and talked. And Fernando, for some reason, he liked us. He said, I'm coming out to see this place. And he came out and he stood up there, and then it was just dirt and left-leaning seats. And he said something, and I recognized it. It was a Pablo Neruda poem, and I finished it. And he looked at me, he looked at the space, he said, what are you gonna do? And then we talked, and then he said, come down next week, I'll give you your first 5,000. And he did. And he started us on a whole route of learning about grants. And the people you have to support. We now have the most incredible support. We have a new managing director who is doing beautiful things for us. We have a staff. That's when we, after Mom passed, we went deeply, deeply into education. Because I don't know if you all know, but this country gives to education and building things. It doesn't give much to artists. I don't know why. I think it's a problem we have here in America. So we had a huge education is extremely important. In many theaters that you go to, this is theater and this is education down there. And they have different people. They don't work together. And they always look a little down at the education. That's not true here. Education is equal to our theater. Our education are our actors. We're very proud of that. It's a way of creating longevity and this place to continue. How that started, the Academy of the Classics, we call it, was my older sister and I were sitting down at Denny's, and we started to write it out on a napkin what we needed in an intensive Shakespeare. We need this, because we would cast and nobody could talk. You couldn't hear a thing anybody said. They didn't know how, you know. When they moved, it was, you know, they maybe go that far. And so we knew we had to have an academy to create actors who could become large enough to do these beautiful classics that we have. It's like classical music, you know. Classical music will never go away. We're starting a whole program this year of classical music. And what's happened is my nephews, they were classically trained in Europe. They are now back here. And they're going to be bringing classical music to this organization. We have it all calendared. You know, that's always the first thing to do, is to calendar it. And they're brilliant at what they do, and we're very excited about bringing more music back. I think, Melora, do you have anything that you want to put now? Because we have the academy. If you have children, if you have grandchildren, we'd love to pass on what we know.
For teens, and it goes all the way from 4-year-olds up into to codgers like us that come and want to learn about Shakespeare, classical theater. We have things all summer long, all winter long. We have programs. So if you're at all interested in doing what we do up here, or giving a gift to someone, a course of lessons, there's a lot of ways that you can push this forward, because it's astonishing how classical theater spreads through the students. Because once they fall in love with the bard and with
the
being
language
on stage, the language, then they bring their own people, and they start their own group here, especially teenagers. They love a wonderful situation like that to be together and do theater. And what could be better, especially out here.
Well, it's also with the kids today. You know,
Yeah.
I worry so about the kids today. You know, their bodies are changing.
Oh, the computers,
You know,
yeah.
and their minds are changing. And we try so hard to communicate, you know, and we found this particular generation that went through COVID.
Yeah.
It's different. And so how to open all that back up.
We also go into schools. We have thousands of kids come in May, as you've seen the school buses, and they come in here and they see our first two Shakespeare plays and have workshops and talk. And probably many of you have kids that have gone through our camps and it's,
Who's first time here?
oh, right on.
Oh, are you new to Topanga? No, you just never came.
Next, you'll
I'm
have
so
to.
glad you're here.
Well, we'll be producing 4 or 5 plays next year, and music concerts all summer long, and there's just so much here, so don't miss out. We don't have a giant advertising budget, so you have to kind of pay attention to what we do here, so you don't miss it.
Yeah.
You guys don't speak enough about yourselves to amplify. I just wanted to let everybody here know.
You got to speak loud, Susan. She's used to be the chairman of our board.
I thought about having to speak in front of people, but I've been on the board and associated with them for decades. But Ellen and Melora and this theater, the repertoire season from June to the beginning of October, when these productions, and they integrate that into teachings. That's the students that come out here are learning about the current plays, and they can come back, and then eventually they intern and they start coming and acting in the plays. I mean, it's just this continuing, evolving thing. But what I really wanted to point out is this has become, first of all, it's the longest living established repertoire company in all of Los Angeles.
Yeah. This is our 50th year. We just closed our 50th year.
Yeah.
And it is award-winning all throughout LA.
Yeah.
All the, the theatrical awards, from the acting to performances, all of the production, and the costuming. I think you've gotten awards for, and everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
And it's not uncommon to see this. So it's not just isolated here in Topanga. It has broad reach through the students, I don't know if we've ever been able to calculate how many people come to the shows that live here versus how many people come from outside. You get hit hard when the road closes down.
Well, I keep trying to think of a way with the community to engage more, always with the community, more community support. My thought was just this Christmas, when do you get together and sing anymore? We don't. Wouldn't it be wonderful if Topangans were here, we all sang Christmas carols together? It's that kind of thing that we need now with life as it is, a life that is trying to make us take sides, and there's nothing, this community is a healing place, it really is. So what do you think of that idea of having a Christmas? Do you like that idea? Yeah, I think so, and then maybe show an old Christmas film. Last night I went to Toro, Douglas Fairbanks. There's a huge organ they used to have, they used for Zorro, sorry, thank you. And they had these huge organs they used, like for sound and music and what have you in Hollywood. And this man has got it down there in town, and he played it while Zorro went on. And that's what they used to do. And I don't know how to get the information out about that, but you would love it. It was an adventure, and it's right here in our community. It's great.
You want to hear us sing a couple songs?
Yes.
I don't know if we can. Let's do that. Yeah. There were so many people that have helped us. That I feel. It's Ed Asner helped us so much.
Yeah.
John Hausman, when we first started, I'd go to him and say, John, this is what we want to do. This. And he'd say, stop that. That's what you start with. He taught how to build something and be aware of all those that are around you when you're building. Oh, we are doing this, okay. This brings us to the this brings us to the Woody section. That we are creating the shelter, which is a museum. I love the title of that because this place has always sheltered our family, and I think it sheltered a lot of blacklisted actors in the beginning.
That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. And,
It's right over there. I put it over there.
oh, is that your friend? Yeah. So we did just recently the Woody show. I think Pablo was there.
I don't know if we're going to be able to do it now. Listen to that music. This might be silly.
Pick your key.
Uh-huh. What do you think?
This might be silly.
Oh, yeah.
Stand to our right here.
Is this up 5? Yeah. Up 5, the first one's up 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, God.
I don't know. If it's bad, if it's pathetic.
Yeah, please tell us. Peter, would you be the judge?
No. You gonna make
Come
me
in
stand
close,
up?
baby. Yeah, you got to stand up.
No, I don't.
Really? Okay.
It's a mighty hard road that my poor hands has pulled. My poor feet has traveled a hot, dusty road. Out of your dust bowl, westward we roll. Your deserts was hot and your mountains was cold.
California, Arizona, I worked on your crops. Then it's up north to Oregon to gather your hops. I dig the beets from your ground. I cut the grapes from your vine to set on your table that light sparkling wine. Ready?
Green pastures of plenty from dry desert ground, from the Grand Coulee Dam where the waters rush down. My land I'll defend with my life if it be, for your pastures of plenty must always be free.
Well, then I think what we might do then, what our family, how many trucks we've stood on, singing for unions. And please sing the chorus if you know this.
Oh, you don't have a choice. Here we go.
They don't have a choice.
There once was a union maid who never was afraid of the goons and gigs and the company figs and the deputy sheriff who made the raids. She went to the union hall when a meeting it was called, and when the company guards came around, she always stood her ground. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die. This union maid was wise. Yes, this union maid was wise to the tricks of the other guys. She couldn't be fooled by a country school. She always organized the guys. She always got her way. When she asked for higher pay, she'd show her card to the National Guard, and this is what she said. Here we go! Can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. We're kind of doing it now. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die.
Now a woman struggles hard.
Even with a union
Even
card.
with a union card, she's got to stand on her own 2 feet and not be a slave to the male elite. It's time to take a stand. Work together hand in hand. There is a job that's got to be done and
Equal rights to be won. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union.
get to anymore. I was brought up with, campfires. You sit around, you sing songs. My body lies over the ocean. All these old songs, and what it does is it creates community, and it creates care about each other. And
What was the third one? Was it so long?
this land.
Oh, this land, of course. I'm sorry, so sorry. Will, you ready?
Yeah, I gotta do different things.
What's your theme song?
I really.
E for an E.
I saw the Colin Hay documentary, and he talked about his theme song, the Down Under song.
Yeah, it was quite wonderful. I mean, as a kid, she wasn't thought about yet. Watching Woody, when Woody was here, this is the first time he started to shake. From Huntington's chorea, it wasn't from the war, in with a K. And everybody thought he was drunk. And he wasn't drunk, the disease was getting him. And so he was here just before he went east. He found a new wife and went east. And then they had to hospitalize him. I don't know if we can get through this one.
Oh yeah, we can. Here we go. Will Geer.
Okay, we'll sit.
And Will Geer and Woody Guthrie traveled this great land along with a lot of other people, like-minded people, helping to form the unions that have made America so strong. And along the way, he wrote a song which many people feel should become our national anthem. Sing it with us.
It was made for you and me.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I roamed and rambled, and I followed my footsteps from the sparkling sands of her diamond deserts, and all around me a voice was sound. What it said, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
And the sun was shining, and I was strolling. The wheat fields waving, the dust clouds rose rolling,
And the fog was lifted, and a voice was sounding, saying, this land was made for you and me. Here we go. This land is your land. This land is mine. From California to the New York Island. Yeah, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As you're totally right. Go for it.
nobody living can ever stop me as I go walking that freedom highway. Nobody living can make me turn back. This land was made for you and me.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California
land is my land. From California, sing out, Louise, to New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me.
Thank you. Historical Society.
Any questions? If you have any questions, we're done. But if
There's
you
a
have any
question.
questions-
Got one right here.
Down the front.
Huh?
What happened to this property while you all had to split up and go your
Oh, it
separate
was
ways?
awful. We rented, Papa rented it out,
Okay.
and there were lots of people here.
It was wild here.
It was very wild, and so it was very important that we come back and take care of it.
But
It's-
you kept it. It was in the family.
oh, it stayed in the family, and it will stay in the family. Our
It was
theatric-
Herta, Ware, and Will Geer's
yeah,
property.
yeah, and you know, Theatricum is first always for our family. And as we evolve, people wonder what's going to happen. How's it going to change? And we are setting it up again. Our fine business acumen. My daughter is really great at it. So that Theatricum will always be here for people. That's part of the family's legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a question right here.
Yes, hi.
I'm sure. I remembered coming here in the late 60s, and there was no theater.
It was dirt.
It was like people were sitting on logs around a campfire,
Yeah.
but you didn't mention anything about the late 60s when you were talking about the
Oh,
history.
thank you so much.
I know. But I remember that.
That's lovely. Did you hear that story, sitting around a campfire? Yeah, no, it's lovely. This used to be a dirt stage. Our poor actors were all working in dirt. Our costumes were always dirty. We always stank, but we did it.
We were fine.
And if the rain rained, if they used an umbrella, then we would continue. You know, there's a marvelous reality. I mean, I've worked all over with some of the big reps in the country. And I'm telling you, when I hit here and began this, I never want to go to the Guthrie Theater again. I don't want to go up to Canada and do it up there. This is just beautiful. It's a wonderful community. I'm so glad you're all a part of it and that you're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen.